Preseason week 2, Lions.
Week
They
C's
come back over the
against the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yeah. The reigning nobody beats the Lions in Arrowhead. Nobody. Undefeated.
Nobody. That's
Nobody.
true. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, there's a few takeaways I have from this. Number one, Jake Bates. He may be him. I don't know if you saw Jake Bates. He missed an extra point.
But
that was just to lead everybody into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Was just to make the Chiefs go, oh, we just got to keep them in field goal range. They can't make kick. Jake Bates went a hundo, 4 for 4 from field goal, made a 55-yarder, made a game winner.
Yeah.
12 total points on the board for Jake Bates. Obviously would have been the difference in just a 1-point win. Ironically enough, if he didn't miss the extra point, it wouldn't have mattered. We would have won.
Yeah.
But
still.
I mean, like,
you got to keep it interesting in the preseason, right?
This guy, like, to me, it's always weird when you find these kickers. Like, Jake Bates, former soccer player. Did he ever play in, like, the Major League Soccer or any, like, I don't know where he played.
I don't think so.
I know he was a former soccer player at some level. And then obviously last year with the Michigan Panthers in the UFL was just a stud.
He played college soccer for the Central Arkansas Bears.
Oh, the Bears. Everybody loves them.
And college football for the Texas State Bobcats and Arkansas Razorbacks.
Oh, really? He went to Arkansas. Wow.
He was in Arkansas. Yeah.
Huh. I did not know that. SEC guy.
It
just means more. It just means more.
It really does.
But yeah, I mean, like, joking aside, I mean, it's funny, like, thinking about it. The Lions have not really had a good, consistent kicker since Matt Prater.
Yeah.
Like, we've had the Michael Badgley show and the Riley Patterson show. And look,
wow.
Riley Patterson again. He's back. Yeah. Michael Badgley's back. And then, oh my God. I was listening to the radio the other day. They listed off, do you remember Ryan Santoso?
That name does not sound familiar.
So, you might not know the name, but you will remember the game in 2021. Lions-Steelers goes into overtime. Lions in range for a game-winning field goal. Chance to get their first win in the Campbell era. And he shanks this kick into the river. Like, it was one of the worst kicks I ever.
No, I do remember that.
Day. It was, they might have cut him before the game ended. They might have just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Santosa, you're out.
I do remember that because that was all over. Like, that was just a bunch of memes about how.
Because it was like the Lions can't even like they're like
do it.
They're in the exact spot and they have so little talent they cannot win a game. Like they would end up tying before they end up winning.
Yeah,
it was incredible stuff. But I like what I'm seeing from Bates. I would like to see a few more extra points. Obviously, probably just to. I mean,
it's
obviously missed the one.
I mean, but I chalk that up too. Maybe like jitters too.
Yeah, right. I mean, he really didn't kick a lot of extra points. Like
nobody is perfect.
We didn't have right. Nobody's perfect. We didn't have a touchdown until this game in the preseason. So and every other instance when we did have a touchdown, it was like we were going for 2, right? Like the touchdown late in this game, we went for 2 because we tried to tie the game tie the game, and didn't work out. So I guess what I'm looking for this week against the Steelers, I'm looking for let's just get into the end zone, which is easier said than done, and then just kick the extra point every time. I mean, obviously you want to win. If it's a situation where you're going to win the game, you go for 2,
right? But
like, ideally, try to score early, first drive of the game, second drive, whatever. Just maybe make it a low-ish pressure situation because most extra points are pretty low pressure situations.
Yeah, especially
certainly in preseason because all the results don't really matter. But I mean, there's no other way to get him reps live other than you got to score. So, and speaking of scoring, Hendon Hooker has arrived. He is our backup quarterback of the future. Seth, I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
When Hendon Hooker was drafted, or let's go even further back.
Okay.
When Hendon Hooker was at the University of Tennessee, go Volunteers, and he was beating Alabama, and he was the star of the show.
I recall.
Like the appeal about him, obviously he was an older guy, was like this guy could go number 1 overall. This guy's stud. This guy's a first-round quarterback.
I seem to recall this.
Unfortunately, His leg fell off shortly thereafter.
Yep.
And he falls to the Lions in the 3rd round. I want to say we traded up to get him. I could be wrong about that, but he's either way, he ends up falling to the 3rd round,
which is incredible.
And now he's the backup. Seth, 12 for 15, 150 yards, 108 quarterback rating on ESPN, an average of 10 yards per throw. He also ran for 11 yards, including a rushing touchdown. Had that, I believe it was a 9-yard rush for the touchdown. I could be wrong on that. But,
very nice.
Like, I'm not saying we have, like, emergency, in case of emergency, break glass, here comes Hendon Hooker. But I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah. And I think those are great numbers.
Yeah, like he's shown some amount of like comfort. Like, I mean, last week at the Giants game, played 1 quarter, his head fell off, got a concussion. He's back, I think he had 1 practice, if that, and
he's doing that.
Whole second half, he takes over. He has multiple scoring drives, including a touchdown drive near the end of the game.
Right.
The only thing he had going for him that wasn't good was he fumbled at like the 7-yard line and nearly lost the game for the Lions. But I mean, he made up for it. He drove down into field goal range and lined Jake Bates up. To me, if we want to talk about backup quarterback situations, it's like,
I think it's a good one.
Well, like Hooker, it's like he has that upside where it's like, if something were to happen to Jared Goff, your season is probably not going to go the way you want it to go. But
still,
that this lends credence to it's not a bad idea to every other draft or so just draft a quarterback, any quarterback.
Yeah, because I mean, even if their leg falls off,
right? Like you look at, I mean, not to use a sad example, you look at your Chargers last year. Who had what was the quarterback they played when Justin Herbert went down?
Easton Stick.
Easton Stick. Who the heck is Easton Stick?
I don't know.
Where did he go? Where did he go to college?
I don't even know that answer off the top of my head, to be quite honest with you.
I have no idea. Did he go to college? He went to Lansing Community College?
He probably did. LCC?
Go Lions?
Anyone?
I think Lions. Lions.
North Dakota State.
Oh, the Jackrabbits?
The Bison.
Okay, I'm thinking of South Dakota State, I believe. I think they're the Jackrabbits.
It's fitting.
You know what? Either way, Easton Stick. Nobody knows who the heck that guy is. Hendon Hooker, whatever you want to say about him, if you think he's overrated, if you think he's nothing.
Yeah.
He's a name. He's I don't want to say an adult in the room because he's not a veteran of the league by any stretch of the imagination. But for goodness sake, he's better than Nate Sudfeld. If Nate Sudfeld had to come in a game-winning situation, I would basically give up on the season. I would say, you know what? It was good. Let's just go ahead, pass it off to next year.
Yeah.
Let's just move along because Nate Sudfeld was not him, as the kids say. Hendon Hooker, at the very least, might be him, even though he's like 100 years old. But I'm pretty sure he's older than Jared Goff. That's not true. That's not accurate. He's close. He's close. They might have been maybe it was like he got held back or something.
Yeah, he got held back here.
Jared Goff went to young 5, so that's why.
Oh,
things are confusing there.
Yeah. That's it.
And I got a couple other players here I want to talk about that have over the last couple of weeks somewhat won me over. And I made this point on the first preseason broadcast, live reaction, that there is always a guy, or at least there has been the past couple of preseasons, where they'll have like 1 or 2 plays that make you go, whoa. And then that season, in the regular season, they kind of come out of nowhere for teams. I remember last year, I believe it was the first preseason game, Jahmyr Gibbs had like a 20-yard catch and run. And it was like, whoa. Okay. And then maybe Jahmyr Gibbs was like, all right, we're done. No more in the preseason. I've seen enough. I'm satisfied. And then Jahmyr Gibbs goes out, has a heck of a season.
Yep.
The 2 guys that I want to point out are Isaiah Williams, who caught 6 passes for 71 yards.
Okay.
Had a 37-yard long. And Sione Vaki, who had 4 catches for 60 yards, on top of 22 yards rushing. Isaiah Williams also had 11 yards rushing. And he returned a punt late in that game.
Okay, so that's a +2.
Let me see what his return was. And Sione Vaki also returned for 9 yards. And Isaiah Williams returned 3 total punts for 41 total yards. And a 20-yard return, I believe, was that last return in the game that ended up setting up field goal range. So both of these guys,
so there you go.
Isaiah Williams, I want to say he went to Illinois. So if you watch a lot of Big Ten football, as we do, probably had heard his name called at some point. I don't really remember, but
I can't say I do.
Probably he did.
Yep.
Sione Vaki, I don't remember where he went, but he was sort of, I think he was pitched as like running back safety, which is a very weird combination, but basically he was your everyman. He could return footballs. You could put him in the backfield. You could put him as a DB. You could put him all over the field because he's speed. Yeah. He's speed, and he can keep up with the best of them.
Yep.
I think one of these two guys will surprise people on the offensive side of the football. I don't even know if I have to
write this down for the record.
Yeah, write this down for the record. Sione Vaki or Isaiah Williams are going to have very good years. And I mean, look, the Detroit offense is insulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
These guys don't have to worry about having to go off as starters. Sione Vaki does not have to worry about.
I was going to say they're probably
he's got Montgomery and Gibbs in front of him, right?
Yeah.
Isaiah Williams, he's got JMO and St. Brown in front of him, and Laporta, if you want to add that.
I was going to say too, he's probably like a receiver, like 3 or 4.
Right, but that's like the best situation for these kind of guys, as far as I'm concerned, because look, they did go. I mean, Isaiah Williams went undrafted. He was a free agent, and Sione Vaki, he went in like the 3rd or 4th round, but that's like that's around where Amon-Ra went. Like this guy that kind of nobody really seemed to pay much attention to.
And then boom.
And now with the new kickoff rule, and look, I've not been particularly a fan of it as it has played out in the preseason. But I mean, like Sione Vaki could find himself returning kicks. Back, we had Khalil Dorsey or Khalif Raymond returning kicks. Maybe you take a Khalil Dorsey, you move him out of that spot. And you put Sione Vaki in, or they just share the role, right? Like,
or
it's
with
not
Khalif
like
Raymond too, because he plays, receiver sometimes.
Precisely. It's like you're just adding to the room to where now it's guys are competing for that 3rd spot, and that's only going to make guys better. And furthermore, in the case of Isaiah Williams or Sione Vaki, you have these guys that can play special teams, and this team, like Dave Phipp, the special teams coordinator for the Lions. The Lions have had some very interesting special teams with the trick plays. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a fake pass or a fake punt pass goes to Isaiah Williams or Sione Vaki, or a fake run. I mean, like we had Jalen Reeves-Maybin run a fake punt run, and it worked. Like, you just add these kind of guys.
A maniac.
Yeah, right. Like Dave Phipp and Dan Campbell. I don't think I've ever seen a staff fake punts as much as this staff. Like,
I'm pretty sure they hold a record. They have to.
It's like the fake punt is only slightly more successful than the fake field goal, but both are not particularly successful. But like, honestly, I want to say last year they only failed on one fake punt. Like,
out of
because they did it against the Cowboys, it worked out. They did it against the Chiefs, it worked out, and then they did it against Packers, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But like, hey, you know what? If you're 2 for 3. on a fake punt on a play that's probably not going to work.
66%.
Like, I'll be like, all right, cool, works for me. Right. And it's funny because teams see it coming at this point too. Like they're like, okay, there's always that possibility, and they fail to stop it. And if you just add those kind of skill guys, the Isaiah Williams of the world, the Sione Vakis of the world, it's only going to be harder.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think, like I said, write it down for the record. We'll see. I mean, that always happens with every team. So I think, obviously as the Lions expert here, I wouldn't be surprised if these names are pretty well known.
I sure hope so.
Games in the season.
Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.